Okay, so I'd like to introduce you our next speaker. He is a graduate of UBV with a degree in BSBA Marketing, a student in the USA College of Law, and the VP External of Daily Guardian. Lcid primarily works in the field of public relations, imaging, and messaging. He discusses shaping narratives, how simple acts can affect the world around you, and at heart, he's a storyteller and believes that stories are the most important invention in human history. Again, to discuss was the responsibility of innovation, Lcid Fernandez, VP External for Daily Guardian.
Yes, so when they first asked me about the title of this talk, I gave them the sleepy answer of responsibility of innovation. But then I thought, this sounds like something a person much older than myself would say. So I thought, why don't we change this title? Why don't we innovate it? So the title now becomes Innovating Innovation. Because when you innovate something and you create a standard for people, it's not really about introducing something new, but making sure that this new thing that you're introduced is always changing, always evolving to suit the needs of what you need to do. Thus, this was the Daily Guardian in March of 2019. The Daily Guardian is the first newspaper to have a Facebook page among all the newspapers in Iloilo. However, in March of 2019, it only had 18,000 likes. The next competitor had double our number of likes, and some other media outlets had 5 times the number of our likes. So our following and our reach was not at all any good. At this point in time, we had a newspaper who had a rich background, a rich culture, a stellar history, and yet it was teetering on the edge of social irrelevance. On April 11, 2019, it was our father's birthday, and at the same time, it was the time that my brother and I were introduced back into the Daily Guardian. When we entered the media industry, we were disappointed to find that it had grown stagnant. It had grown content with their place in society and their roles. The old guard of journalism had grown quite comfortable with where they were. And so, given the landscape that we had, we could not in any way try to compete or even affect the competition. So in this case, if you can't beat the competition going through the same landscape, what do? We decided to change the landscape. On April 11, 2019, I remember, because I put it in my article, and my brother said it in a speech, that this was page 1 of year 19. This is now what Daily Guardian is. I remember that night thinking that this would be the image that would stay with me as I would start to change the landscape of the media industry. Because it was this image that symbolized that we were no longer going to remain comfortable. We were no longer going to remain content with what we've done. So Daily Guardian has been changed, and with it, we changed everything that has been done in the media industry. With that said, these are the innovations that in the past 6 months we have introduced. So we have been quite busy because in six months we introduced 7 innovations. My brother described us a few days ago as the most overachieving company there is, because really the core group of this team is me, my brother, Jonas, Tintin, and FAA, our editor-in-chief. This team in itself has already done so many things. We have been overworking ourselves, far at times stretching ourselves, but always making sure that we are never comfortable. Always making sure that we are always increasing the standard and the quality of what we're doing. And since we wanted to change the landscape, we wanted to take away the monopoly of information in journalists, because we understood that the old guard of journalism had the voice, they had the spotlight. But in order to change the landscape now, we needed to take that spotlight and then give it to everybody else. And it starts with the Daily Guardian initiative. And the Daily Guardian initiative, it started with one. It was with Levi Amusin of Hugging Horizons. And with that one person, we gave them all a platform for the ideals, their struggles, their advocacies, their passion. We chose to understand that when we tell the story of the Ilonggo community and the Philippine community, it could not be told from one viewpoint. So we had to take it all. The most recent addition to the Daily Guardian initiative is Kapwa. Kapwa is a storytelling platform for Muslim Philippines, an otherwise misunderstood sector of society. One of the most important things about DJ Initiative is that it's always based on advocacy and passion. Like Global Shapers Community, Global Shapers Hub of Iloilo is also part of the Daily Guardian Initiative. And we're very proud of our partners in the endeavors that they have and the things that they try to do to make things better for us. And if you're going to talk about passion, we have Titus Villanueva and Double Swift Customs who fill in our Toy Tuesdays. These are the things that we're trying to do. We're trying to take our platform and give it to other people. Because this advocacy and this meaning means more than any monopoly of any information that we have. So if we're giving you the platform, we're giving you the star, we're making you the star of the show, it then makes it so that our paper becomes more community-based. This is our biggest push into the digital sphere. It's Daily Guardian documentaries. With Daily Guardian documentaries, we started here in Icon, at Conquest. At Conquest, we featured all these events, but we had to brand it in a certain way that Daily Guardian documentaries was in-depth, but had to be more positive. It had to have good vibes, because that's how we are. We like to be happy, right? So with Daily Guardian documentaries, we had to innovate it over and over and over again, in the sense that there are two stories here. First, that we needed a new camera. We needed new equipment, so we had to pay. Secondly, is that I didn't have much experience hosting or talking in front of a crowd, so it's always weird to look at yourself on video when you're trying to do something. This video is about Vin, the most in-demand barber in Iloilo. This was at his barber studio in our subdivision because Vin is our neighbor. And this second video is from the Iloilo United Royals homecoming, when they had their first home game at the University of San Agustin. The story is, in the first video, I didn't know what I was doing. I was primarily reading off a script, and I'd always say that the best part of our video was what our team did, and the worst part was how I posted it. So then I tried my best to always step out of my comfort zone, remove the script, and try to be as natural as possible. Because here, in all actuality, it's not even about us. You'll see us at the intro and at the outro, but at the middle, its story is still yours. Because the important part here is that the story is yours. Whatever comes out in Daily Guardian, we are just the platform. The story is still yours, and we will give it back to you in whatever shape or form that you desire. Because that's our pledge, that our quality will always resemble your own identity. So the next part here is photos. Because we understood that we couldn't have a veil of a screen or a newspaper in our interaction with the community. We understood that in order to really be community-based, in order to really understand the struggles and the passions of the people around you, you must talk to them. So we organized Pautuas with Jmar, who is also from Global Shapers. Actually, many of Daily Guardian's collaborations are just from the brilliant minds around surrounding Global Shapers. So Jmar here, we organized it with him to have this at the end of every month, the last Saturday of every month, where spoken poetry and other arts can be displayed. With that said, there have been many that came. In the first debut, in the debut of Podwas, there were almost 400 people who came just to speak their mind and to have a safe haven to talk. It was always my pledge, and I would always tell them this, that while we cannot help you with your battles in life, while we cannot stand with you when you face them, tonight here at Podwas, what we can give you, what we can promise you is that you will never be alone. And so we gave them more platforms for people who did go to Podwas. Because if you went to Podwas and you performed, you'd have the chance to be featured on the Artist Spotlight. The Artist Spotlight is where we understand that people would be more interested in performing if they felt they had a larger audience. So we feature again these stories. If you look at this photo, this is Nana and Tom. What they sang here was an original composition, a song in Ilonggo, which is not something you see every day. This, I believe this post also received right around almost 100,000 reach. Again, the level of understanding is that when people care about the content, when it's their stories that you are holding, you must keep it precious to you and make sure that the quality that you churn it out in is acceptable to the identity that they try to present you. Because they trust you with their story. They trust you with their narrative. And if you're unable to deliver for them, it destroys the content of the story. That's why we always do our best. This is perhaps the saddest part of our innovations, but I feel one of the most important. Because TG In Depth was really to go deeper into the things that happen. Explainers as to how things are done. So we have done 2 episodes so far. The first was for the dengue outbreak. The second was for the pump boat tragedy in Guimaras. This post about the pump boat tragedy reached over 1 million people, and it touched a lot of lives. And even today, I feel bothered, saddened by what happened. And I remember that when it did happen, I told my brother that we would not stop working on this until we could tell their story in the best way that we could. So we dedicated our Sunday from 8 p.m. until 7 a.m. the next day, so we could deliver the story. Make sure that those of them that passed could still live forever through us, through the stories that we tell. A little more happier, this is a personal project between me and my brother, in that we feature businesses, we feature events, we feature people, we feature anything that we think is cool on Daily Guardian. Because people normally are afraid to talk about themselves or to really discuss their story if they're facing a very formal setting, in that, you know, we're the Daily Guardian, we're reporters and we're going to feature you. But if it's just him and me, we're just talking and then it's all informal, we're really just going to talk about you, it makes it more natural. It makes it more personalized. It gives it a point of view separate from that of the paper. So that's why him and me, for all the things that we're passionate about, we understood that we wanted to also tell our stories. And we feel that our stories really should be given light, since we're giving the spotlight to so many other stories and so many other people. And our newest innovation, which we just signed last week, I believe, is Coffeenated. Coffeenated is a podcast that I'm hosting at Ubra, in partnership with Ubra. This is going to talk about people, how they work, how they think, and the intricacies of the thought process behind the things that they do. If they have a certain idea, how do they arrive at it? What experiences drove them to try to do those things? For example, if we have a host, his name is Jules Giang. He's a member of the United Nations Youth Advisory Board, and I believe he's not even 30 years old. This is an idea that blossomed from constant talking and constant searching for something that we can introduce even more. And once we introduce this new thing, we have to perfect it. And since nothing is ever perfect, the process is continuous. The process does not stop. And you have to understand that if you don't love the process, you will just get burnt out, you will grow tired. We've been doing this for 6 months. We've been doing it on the clock, we've been doing it round the clock, and we have not grown tired because the passion exists within our team. You have to surround yourself with people who are like-minded, who will also push the envelope and understand that whatever they're doing now will be remembered far beyond their personal selves. If you dedicate yourself to a cause greater than yourself, then you will never feel tired and you will always love what you do. So where are we? Where is the Daily Guardian now, 6 months after? If we said that if that video was page 1 of year 19 and we had 18,000 likes in March, where is the Daily Guardian today in October of 2019? Last week, we had a reach of 3.388 million people. This far outweighs or outlasts any of our competition in the newspaper industry. And we are the lowest number of following. This goes to show that it's not about the number of likers. It's not about the number of followers. It's about the quality of your content and how you perfect it and how you innovate it. But let's compare. In April of 2019, the end of April of 2019, it was 19,762. This was over an 8-year period because the page started in 2011. In 6 months, we were able to grow to 46,000. Today, I believe we're at 46,800 something or 900 something. This is over a span of 6 months, exponentially defeating our previous performance. If we're going to compare ourselves to other newspapers there, they still have higher like counters than us. They still have a greater following than us. But if we're going to look at the engagements on the right, we almost double their engagements despite having lesser followers. This speaks again to the quality and to the passion that goes into every story. Because when you're doing this, when you're telling stories, it's really more about the platform and the presentation of the story and its content. You have to remain true to its identity. So, if we're going to look at it, innovation for us, it comes at the price of maybe family time, maybe sleep, maybe a good diet, because of course if you don't sleep then you're choosing sleep over hunger. But it also comes in the rewards of better partnerships, good relationships, better collaborations, better performance. We are tired. My brother and I, we are tired. Jonas did not sleep last night because he was making this PowerPoint. We are all tired. And honestly, we have pursued this passion. We have pursued the betterment of Daily Guardian, the progress of Daily Guardian. We have pursued innovation with reckless abandon. But like I said when I posted our photo back then with my brother, the pursuit of spectacular is reckless business. So this is the Daily Guardian. This is only the beginning.
Thank you very much, Elsie. I'd like to request you to stay on stage. And at this point, again, I'd like to request, of course, Sir Francis Antolano and Ms. Anisi Gasataya from DILG to give our token of our appreciation and our certificate to Elsie.